The two owners of the Return to Nature funeral home will be in court this week.
That's the funeral home in Penrose where nearly 200 decomposing bodies were found improperly stored back in October. John and Carrie Halford's preliminary hearing is Thursday.
Many of the victims' families have been pushing for serious change in Colorado's funeral home industry. While funeral homes are regulated by the state, funeral directors are not licensed.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon digs into a new report that recommends Colorado legislators do just that.
Colorado has kind of been a joke of a state to all other states and mortuary professionals across this country.
Aaron Kucharek says he was a licensed funeral director for around a decade in Kansas before moving to Colorado in 2021.
By standing up and saying what was right is what kind of led people to kind of try and push me out of the business in the state of Colorado.
Funeral directors are not licensed in Colorado.
It was always said that people, if you lose your license in another state, just move to Colorado, you'll find a job tomorrow. It is the wild, wild west out there of funeral service.
Before a horrifying discovery at a southern Colorado funeral home, where investigators say 190 bodies were found improperly stored. The Colorado Funeral Directors Association had already asked the state to conduct a sunrise review, proposing funeral professionals be licensed. Sunrise reviews started in 1985. They're meant to determine if a certain profession or occupation needs to be regulated in order to protect public health, safety, and welfare. The review lists a number of cases the Colorado Funeral Directors Association says are examples of harm to the public. Some are high profile, like Sunset Mesa and Montrose, that doubled as a body broker. Others were news to Representative Matt Soper.
We're seeing other horrific cases that, quite frankly, I'm kind of surprised they didn't rise to the level of being media stories.
Ultimately, the review found the public is harmed by the lack of regulation of funeral service professionals in Colorado and recommends legislators regulate them.
I said, holy our voices actually matter.
Now, those voices will be taken to the state capitol for consideration.
Licensure is not to harm good people, good, honest, hardworking people who go above and beyond what you would expect of a funeral home director.
Soper's will be one of the sponsors on a potential bill that would license funeral directors and potentially consider if someone lost their license in another state before coming to Colorado.
Unfortunately for Colorado, we've had a number of headline stories that have cast a very dark shadow on the industry itself. And we want to return good trust back to the industry, back from the public.
Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
In addition to the sunrise review, there's also a sunset review, and that was published in October. It examines the current regulations in place and the state makes recommendations. A key recommendation from the October report called for more frequent inspections of funeral homes and crematories.
Let's go in depth on some of those headline stories Representative Soper mentioned that have prompted these reviews of the industry.
Red flags were raised back in 2018 when the FBI started investigating a funeral home in Montrose that sold body parts without the consent of family members. 2 funeral home operators were sentenced a year ago.
Then in 2021, a now former Lake County coroner was arrested after mishandling the remains of a stillborn baby. Law enforcement determined the baby's cremated remains contain traces of at least 2 other people. Shannon Kent was sentenced last February to 180 days in jail.
Most recently, as we mentioned, the FBI is investigating the alleged improper storage of nearly 190 bodies at the Return to Nature funeral home. It's 30 miles south of Colorado Springs. The investigation started after neighbors smelled something foul, according to the Fremont County Sheriff's Office.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency will demolish the funeral home on January 17th, and they say it'll take 10 days.